Good afternoon. So I don't have any question, just that I tried to catch you, but seems like too fast already. But just to let you know that technical-wise, innovation-wise, they are all there. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Hi, good to hear. Regulatory-wise, is this safe? How are you going to make sure that there's no false prescriptions, and how's this? Is this going to be okay for the public to use?
Yeah, thank you for your question. So we know that actually safety is always the concerns when we are using this LLM, and that's why our app is not actually replacing the human jobs, but it's actually like when the patient wants to meet a doctor, right? Then this AI can help to understand what's the symptoms of this patient and give some rough idea to diagnose that, or maybe this patient has diabetes. But whether this patient is really get diabetes or not, we actually is letting the doctor to decide. So what our application do is actually save the doctor's time to constantly inquire the patient's problems. But actually, our system can already summarize all the patient's symptoms and the diseases, so the doctor can still use their knowledge to prevent our LLM application to give false information. So I hope I answer your questions. Thank you.
Hello? Okay, judges, all good? No more questions? Wow, okay, very good. Thank you very much, team NotSoPro. Next, I would like to call the previous team. The previous team is Sustain X. Are you guys ready this time?
Sorry for the technical problems. Okay. All right. Okay, hi. Good evening, and no, good afternoon to the judges and the innovators. My name is Irfan. I'm the UI UX designer in this project. So the background is that we are developing an IoT-powered energy tracking system capable of generating comprehensive energy reports for business owners or building owners. So you can see there are three problem statements here. What we are trying to solve is that users are currently experiencing high levels of operational costs due to significant increase in electricity costs, right? And the second one is the not knowing the high electricity consumption, as well as no alternative is currently available due to regulatory stumbling blocks. So we are proposing like 3 solutions here. The first one is energy benchmarking tool. The second one is energy management system, as well as the gamification, which I will proceed with the product demo after this. Alright. So why our product is different is that we have 4 unique selling points. The first one is ability to break down the energy usage. The second one is track and compare. Connect clients with trusted renewable energy providers, as well as gamification of app to encourage energy savings. Alright, so as mentioned earlier, the target audience is mainly the corporate landlords with substantial inventories, hotel chains, universities in Cyberjaya. Okay, so I'll pass it to Mike.
Yeah, hello. So for our business model is they try to get the revenue from a transaction and installation fee. So the transaction is whenever they install the solar panel or renewable energy, then we can get part of a percentage from the transaction. And also installation fee, if they are install our IoT device, then we can have like we can charge them for lifelong access to our IoT system and app. So our market size is quite big actually for energy management system. Globally, they have like 158.21 billion, and in around Malaysia is around 61.31. But we want to obtain only a small portion. This is around Cyberjaya that we are estimating around 3.1 million ringgit. So our competitive analysis basically we try to get advantage in terms of participant adoption over time in cost saving behavior. So we are confident that we can achieve 30% in terms of encouraging participants to behave cost saving behavior.
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate the prototype. So we have 2, the dashboard as well as the app. So can you click in the prototype? Yep. So it's just going to be a brief one. So this will be for the building owners. So when they see the dashboard, you can see the current cost, the energy consumption and carbon emission, as well as the charts below that. So for ours is actually the suggestion part that is very interesting. So if you were to click view suggestions at the bottom there, yep. So they will be redirected to these 2 suggestions. So the first one is definitely for this particular problem is that we are trying to suggest them to install a solar panel. So they can enter their address and plug their rooftop on top of this location, right? And then they can estimate the area size, and then we can give the estimated price there. Then they can just go to the third party, our provider. So if you were to click into personalized AI suggestion, if you click the drop-down menu, yep. So this is actually integrated with the ChatGPT where we can actually troubleshoot the problems. Okay. So if you were to go quickly into the reports, the building owners can actually go, yep, the left side, the reports. Yep. Yeah, just click. So just brief. Okay. So next is the app. Quickly go to the app. Next, yep. So click into the brief prototype. So this is for the participants who want to participate in knowing their cost like their behavior, right? So this is the home page. So if they were to home, okay, they scroll down a bit, they can see the rewards there. We are putting like 2,400 points. So it's just like a point, right? So they can see their monthly electricity cost and some suggestions, something similar to the dashboard. You click to the rewards, rewards at the bottom. Yep. So you can see like what kind of like rewards they can actually get, as well as quests, the third one. Yep. Yeah, so something like this. Yep. Please close, thank you. The prototype you can, yep. Quickly, yep, let's proceed with this.
Yeah, basically this is our solution architecture blueprint. Basically we use a front-end view, and then backend is mostly Django with TM OIP, P Live, and TM notification service. Thanks. And we try to break down our timeline development for like around 3 months, and this is like initial breakdown to make it the project more feasible. That's all from us. Thank you.
Judges, onwards to you for Q&A.
Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, very clean UI UX.
what kind of other suggestions that the app can give to your clients apart from installing solar panels?
Okay, so based on the data we collected from, so we, or if we go back to the architecture just now. Okay, so we also try to integrate the smart plug. So smart plug is an IoT device that can monitor energy consumption based on the user. So for example, when they install the IoT, we can the smart plug will tied to the user identity. For like a business owner, they have a tenant there, and then maybe like some property. So when we have a behavior data, so we use a ChatGPT to suggest what kind of behavior they can do to reduce to reduce the energy consumption. So that's one part of suggestion that we ended up for now.
How accurate is ChatGPT's suggestions with regards to saving electricity costs?
Yeah, for example, like they detected the user used like some kind of watt per hour this month, and then maybe they can suggest, or you can maybe probably decrease by 5% if you're not letting your monitor on standby.
No, how accurate is ChatGPT's suggestions?
That one we didn't properly research yet.
Judges, no more questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, next team is Team Something Dumb and Funny. Are you guys ready? For Team Something Dumb and Funny, please set up your laptop while the judges fill up the scoring sheet.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. So we are Team Something Dumb and Funny. Our solution is called Consensus, and we are tackling the problem of urban mobility by providing dynamic bus routes based on user choices. So this is the main problem we are trying to solve. So bus services are not efficient. So what do I mean by not efficient? So firstly, there's like maybe oversupply. The services are not wanted but provided. So I give the example of times like COVID, when there was very much lower demand for bus services, but we're going to provide it anyway. So the problem with this is, the consequence is there is going to be a lot of empty buses. There's a misallocation of resources. Next, we also might have undersupply when services are wanted, but there is not enough availability. So this may be the route you want is not provided, or there's just not enough bus times, not enough repetitions of buses for that route. So I give the example of this, where Larkin Central was just overcrowded because of a festive event. So this may happen during festive events or concerts or an event like this maybe. So here's another problem. It's hard to know which routes are in demand. So I give, let's say, a personal example. So I'm from City Alam and I want to go to Sunway, which my university is. So there is a bus provided by Sunway himself. So it's not a public bus service. So it's provided by Sunway itself. There is only 2 per day, one in the morning and one in the evening. And the thing is, there is more than 50% occupancy, even though the bus leaves at before 7 a.m. So what does this tell you about the demand? There is a demand for this, made up mostly by students. So the question is, how do we know? How do we capture this demand? So the thing is, there may be other routes or timings which are needed but unknown. And so this is our solution. Dynamically plan bus routes from user choices and existing data.
So during this hackathon, we had access to Kumpul and Trike and also some public bus services in Cyberjaya. So what we did was create a dashboard to analyze what's the transportation situation like in Cyberjaya. So yeah, could you click on the link? So yeah, this is actually live data. So if you look down, you can see that the average ride time for a trike is about 14 minutes, and Kumpul does very short routes, so it's about 3 kilometers on average. And if you go down, so something interesting to note is the number of riders for Kumpul. It's 1 to 2, which goes to show that is Kumpul really the right choice when you have actually a van that's fitting for 7 to 8 people, but the most riders, like average number of riders is only about 1. And the on-demand bookings are way larger than advanced booking. So if Kumpul would like to have more advanced booking, maybe they can promote their services to specialize in that feature. I can scroll down. Another thing, you can also analyze that Saturday and Sunday, the number of Kumpul rides is actually quite low. So the point of this dashboard is to provide a centralized data platform for both Trike and Kumpul to see how they can optimize their frequency of buses and what timings they would like to provide their bus and which routes are most in demand. So for example, Unicop to the Arc Cyberjaya is like the most popular. Similarly, you can sort it by the least number of rides and you can find out which are not being used at all. So Kumpul can dynamically plan their routing as well. And you can scroll down. So this is like a big picture view. There's even bus stops at the bottom, yeah. So let's say Kumpul or a public bus service would like to see which routes are being captured or not. You can scroll up a bit. Yeah. So you can look at this whole transportation service and you can see which routes are being captured, which are not, and which we would like to provide for more. Okay, let's go back to the slide. So market validation, there's statistics that show that people still use public transport. And so we believe our solution is needed because people prefer to use cars because it's inconvenient. I'll skip this for now.
Okay, so here's just a brief rundown on how our app is going to look like. So if the route already exists, then it's going to be like a normal bus app. But the key point is we are going to let the users be able to choose their bus route. So we request it like this, and yeah, so these are just some other additional features. Okay, thank you.
Okay, judges, onwards to you for Q&A.
Hi, this is from Cyberview. Quick question. How exactly does it work? Can you explain a little bit on the mechanism on daily, because it's a dynamic, I assume it changes daily? Okay, so how does it work from, I don't know, 6 a.m. in the morning, so people started?
Alright, it actually changes weekly. So we have this as a weekly kind of refresh. So how it works is the users will be inputting their desired routes for every week, and on the next week we will release our routes so that the users can see which routes we are providing in advance, and if they want, they can choose that route and pay for it, and we'll give them a discount. So that's basically how it works.
So majority wins kind of situation, right?
Yes, majority wins. We will provide the routes that are most in demand.
So how do you cater for no-show?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Since we let the users pay for the routes in advance, we would.
Oh, sorry. I mean, meaning that when they vote, they have to pay.
No. When they vote, they do not need to pay. When we release the routes, and then they get to see if their route is chosen. So if their route is chosen and they would like that route, and then we will give them a discount if they prepay for it.
Right. So again, same question. How do you treat no-show? So let's say that's the most popular route having 100 votes, and then 50% drop out. I mean, extreme case. So how do you deal with those?
Yes, we just because we are giving them a discount if they pay in advance. Because obviously they won't pay for the route if they will not choose. They wouldn't want.
Yeah, I think we'll constantly have an algorithm that monitors which routes are being wanted and which routes are being taken up actually. So based on that fluctuation, we can actually decide on what routes we want to cancel, what routes we want to add. So it's dynamic.
Building upon Ang's question just now. So you're saying that you have an algorithm that assess probability of dropouts, no-show, sorry.
Yeah, so it takes into a few things into account. Recency, how recent do they want the route? How frequent do they want the route? And then also, do they actually take up the route? So it's not just the demand, but the actual take-up rate. So
But it's being filled every week.
it fails every week,
Yeah.
then it's likely that the algorithm will drop that route and choose another route and see if that is better.
But that route will be there for 1 week with less amount of passengers and meaning less amount of fares collected.
Yeah, that's correct.
So how do you address that?
Well, I think there has to be a compromise that's made. If you change constantly, then there's no stability in your routes. But if you change, but if you keep it for too long, then that's the problem that you face arises. So I think 1 week or 2 weeks or maybe a couple of days is the timeline we need to adjust.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, judges. Now, onwards to the next team. The next team to present will be IntelliEV. Is IntelliEV here? Not ready yet? Okay. Now, we shall call upon the next one, ZDX Corps. ZDX Corps, are you here? Test.
resource king 要怎么惹带啊？你准备好了，你好像才
Hello to fellow judges and participants. I'm Danish representing ZDX Corps, where we intend to tackle inclusive urban planning particularly with a focus on people with disabilities. So before I actually go into the actual product, I'll go into a scenario. Imagine you were someone bound to a wheelchair or crutches. Okay, you're going somewhere, you're trying to be more independent. You reach somewhere, but there's no ramp, there's no disability facilities. So what can you do? You're trying to be independent, you didn't bring anyone with you, there's no one around, so what can you do? In an increasingly interconnected world, we should make sure that no one is left behind, especially people with OKU disabilities. So there needs to be a solution where we actually speed up the process of setting up better disability facilities for the community. So this like 1 month ago, by KPWKM, they actually did a survey research and found out that a lot of people with disabilities, the OKU community, they actually have a lack of signages, ramps, and a lot of other issues. So it's a very rampant and concurrent issue that's going on right now. So based on this scenario, we have come up with 2 problem statements. One is that there's a pressing need for improving accessibility and inclusivity in urban planning for disabled individuals, as well as there is a lack of coordinated support for the disabled community, leading to unmet needs and isolation. With this in mind, we came up with a solution, which is, we call it the Help a Friend app, a user-friendly platform that connects disabled individuals with able individuals who are willing to help as volunteers. So we would actually say disabled individual needs immediate assistance with maybe it's a staircase where they need someone to help them over. So they can actually send a request and then get an able person, volunteer to come and help them with it. So it's like a gamification process involved. But on long term, there will be a data collection where we actually try to collect data of like hotspots where people, where a lot of the OKU personnel, they requested a lot of help. So that data will be sent to the higher authorities so we can actually get the facilities needed placed. This will just briefly on the architecture. We'll be using Flutter for the app development, and our focus is on geocoding and GeoSmartMap APIs for the map parts of it, as well as text-to-speech RSS and iQuery for the accessibility features. Right, so for the market validation, there's a few factors. So while some accessibility-related applications do exist, none of them are in market with the intent to particularly help the handicapped. There is actually a minimal or no existence of disability-focused e-services in Malaysia market, and that's the main parts. So now we go into a product demo. So this is actually the main page for the OK user. So now they can press on the request for help button. From there, they will be tracked by geolocation. So they will have to confirm their location, and they can make a statement like, oh, I need help to get over the stairs or something of that sort. And matching their geolocation, the request will be sent to a few nearby volunteers who will get the request and they can accept it. Then the volunteer will be able to reach them. There will be an estimation time shown. And along with that, there will be a forum and some emergency hotlines as addition, of course, these things. And then there's also the volunteer page where you will be able to collect points as you go on. Try to get, the more you help people, the more points you get. So you're more, there's an intent to help more people instead of just rejecting and moving on. That's the main for that. And this is actually how the volunteer gets to see the request and also move to the position of the OKU personnel. So yeah, mainly the main benefits are improved accessibility, community engagement, awareness of course, but mainly we want data-driven urban planning where we will on the long term collect data necessary and bring it to whoever is required to actually build the facilities. Yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
Q&A time. Judges, it's your turn. No. judges Q&A time.
I'm John from Vision Next. How do you look at the sustainability of these apps?
Sorry?
How do you look at sustainability of these apps?
Right. So, although at the moment it's mostly due to more to volunteer and that, but either we get more publicly funded or donations to actually be able to run the app long term. Either that, or we will partner with advertisements or something like that. So that money, half of it, or maybe a small percentage, will be directed towards those who get more and more points. So there's also an intent for bringing more people into the app, as well as actually, making the app stay longer.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you.
I'm from CyberView. Just a quick question. How do you, not so much of personal data, but how do you, well, we are dealing with disabled, wrong word. We're dealing with people with special needs, I think that's the word now. How do you deal with potential abuse of the request?
So actually there will be a
Hang
review.
on. So by putting in the request, I'm basically revealing my information, right? My disability or my needs, and then basically I'm exposing to a certain level about myself, right? So I think this is beyond personal data. So have you thought about that? How do we prevent abuse of such information being released to third party?
Beforehand, there might be a background check for each coming volunteer. Maybe we can actually connect it with a background checking API or some sort of that. But if in the case that abuse does happen of some sort, there will actually be a review system after the help process has been made. So if something went wrong, that personnel will be immediately brought into questioning. So it's more trying to make sure the community is safe and positive.
Okay, judges, any more questions? All right, if no questions, thank you very much, team.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now we shall stop. Give a round of applause to team number 6. Okay, now we will stop for a 10 minutes tea break so you guys can go out, even the judges can refresh a bit, have a toilet break, and also have the delicious tea break outside. We will come back here in 10 minutes time. And before we leave, I need to announce this Proton Persona, anyone's Proton Persona with the car plate JUB9607. Please remove your car immediately, it's blocking the entire road. Thank you. Enjoy your tea time. I'll be back in 10 minutes time.